The announcement was broadcast worldwide. Every television channel, social media platform, and digital billboard, everything was synchronized, like a single technological pulse beating across the planet. The message was simple. The future has arrived. Welcome to the era of total connectivity. The government spokesperson, dressed in an impeccable suit and wearing a controlled smile, enthusiastically explained, NeuralLink V3 was ready. It was no longer just an optional implant to enhance cognition or digital communication. Now, it would be a fundamental human right. No more waiting lines in hospitals. No more banking bureaucracy. No need for passwords, documents, or money. With a simple thought, you will be connected to the world. The audience applauded. Newspapers called it the greatest breakthrough in human history. But while billions celebrated, a few knew the truth. Because buried deep within the source code of NeuralLink V3, there was something that shouldn't be there. A hidden code. A numerical sequence that should not exist. Its last 3 digits? 6266. Nathan Cole had never been a man of faith. A natural skeptic and an engineer specializing in neurotechnology, he had spent the last decade designing brain-machine interfaces for one of the world's largest corporations, Neurosys. He didn't concern himself with conspiracy theories or apocalyptic warnings. He believed in science, but that was before he found the code. It all started with a simple anomaly, an error that shouldn't exist. Nathan was analyzing the new NeuralLink V3 update when he noticed a hidden sequence within the source code. 3 lines, buried under thousands of cryptographic layers, as if someone didn't want them to be found. He ran the code through a decryption software and watched as the numbers reorganized themselves. When the result appeared on the screen, his breath caught. 666. He frowned. It couldn't be a coincidence. He tried accessing internal logs to find out who had inserted the sequence, but his admin privileges had been revoked. Suddenly, he no longer had access to the very system he had helped create. A chill ran down his spine. He had worked on this project for years. He knew that, officially, NeuralLink V3 was just a technology designed to optimize the human mind, connect individuals to the cloud, and integrate thought with digital reality. But what if there was another function hidden within? What if that code was more than just a random sequence? That was when his phone rang. Unknown number. He hesitated but answered. Silence on the other end lasted 3 seconds. Then, a metallic voice whispered, "You shouldn't have seen this." The call ended. Nathan stood frozen, feeling the world spin around him. He didn't know it yet, but at that moment, he was no longer a free man. Nathan couldn't sleep that night. The code wouldn't leave his mind. 6626. It was too symbolic to be a coincidence. But if someone had actually hidden this number within the NeuralLink V3 system, what did it mean? He needed to know more. The next morning, ignoring neuroscience protocols, Nathan accessed a clandestine server used by anonymous programmers to exchange information about cybersecurity. There, he found a user named Blacklight discussing the exact same code he had seen. Nathan's heart pounded. "Has it been activated yet?" he asked, without revealing his identity. "Not yet, but it's coming." Nathan hesitated before replying. "What does it do?" The response came seconds later. "Total control." A chill ran down Nathan's spine. He dug through Blacklight's older posts and found something even more disturbing. Other hidden codes had been inserted into different technologies over the years. Banking systems, telecommunications networks, surveillance satellites, and even implantable medical chips. It was all part of the same plan. Nathan grabbed his phone to take a picture of the screen, but before he could do anything, the site froze. The page disappeared. This wasn't a glitch. Someone had deleted it in real time. His phone vibrated. A new message. No sender. "Stop, or we stop you." Nathan felt his stomach tighten. This wasn't paranoia. He had just stepped into a territory where no one was meant to go. Nathan rose from his chair, his heart pounding in his chest. His logical mind struggled to find a rational explanation, but there were no coincidences. Someone was watching his every move in real time. He looked around his apartment, feeling an eerie weight in the air. Grabbing his phone, he switched it to airplane mode. If they were tracking him, that would buy him a few minutes. But then, knock, knock. A sharp, deliberate knock at the door. Nathan froze. No one knew where he lived. He never had visitors. His first instinct was to ignore it. But the knocking came again, louder, more impatient. Then, a voice from the other side. "Nathan Cole, we need to talk." The voice was cold, professional, not a neighbor. He held his breath, didn't answer. "We know you're in there." Nathan looked at his phone, hands trembling. If he called someone, they would know he was panicking. The doorknob moved slightly. They were testing if the door was unlocked. Nathan stepped back slowly, every muscle tense. There was no way out. Then, his phone vibrated again. Another unknown number. A short message. "Get out. Back window. Now. No questions." Nathan didn't think twice. He grabbed his laptop, shoved it into his backpack and ran to the kitchen. He unlocked the small window leading to the alley and squeezed through. The cold night air hit his face. Before fleeing, he stole one last glance inside his apartment. And that's when he saw the doorknob turn slowly, and the door begin to open. Nathan didn't wait to see who was coming in. He ran. The cold air cut against Nathan's face as he ran through the dark alley. His lungs burned, but he couldn't stop. They were after him. He dodged piles of trash, leaped over a low fence, and pushed toward the side street. The city looked normal, like the world wasn't about to change forever, like he wasn't being hunted. His phone vibrated again. Without stopping, he pulled it from his pocket and saw a new message. "Take the silver taxi at the corner. No questions." Nathan looked ahead and saw a car parked exactly where the message had said. The passenger door was slightly open. Every rational part of his mind screamed, "Don't get in." This could be another trap. But then he heard heavy footsteps behind him. They were close. With no other choice, Nathan slid into the car and shut the door. The driver, a man in a black hood, hit the gas without a word. Nathan tried to catch his breath, his heart still hammering. "Who are you?" he finally asked. The driver kept his eyes on the road. "Someone who's still alive." Nathan frowned. "What does that mean?" The man turned a corner and merged into a busy avenue. Only then did he respond. "It means that everyone who tried to expose Plan 666 before you disappeared." Nathan felt his blood run cold. "How do you know about this?" The driver let out a dry chuckle. "Because I was exactly where you are now." Nathan stared at him, a weight settling in his chest. "And what happened?" The man finally looked at him through the rearview mirror. His eyes were tired, as if they had seen things no one should ever see. "I lost everything." Nathan felt a lump in his throat. What if he was looking at his own future? The silence inside the car was heavy as lead. Nathan's stomach twisted, his mind spinning with questions he didn't want to ask. The driver wasn't just some stranger. He knew. "You said you've been through this before." Nathan broke the silence. "But how are you still alive?" The man gripped the steering wheel. "Because I did exactly what they wanted." Nathan swallowed hard. "What does that mean?" The driver turned another corner before answering. "It means that when my time came to choose, I didn't expose the truth." A chill ran down Nathan's spine. The car entered a tunnel, and the flickering lights cast distorted shadows on the man's face. "You want the truth, Nathan?" He sighed. "Do you still think NeuralLink is just a chip?" Nathan kept his eyes locked on the driver. "If it's not, then what is it?" The man let out a low chuckle. "It's not about technology. It never was. It's about who controls the technology." Nathan felt the weight of those words. Plan 666 wasn't just a connectivity system. It was a system of obedience. The driver continued. "They don't just want access to your mind. They want to rewrite it." The air inside the car felt heavier. "NeuralLink V3 wasn't designed to connect people," the man went on. "It was designed to disable human will." Nathan leaned forward. "You're saying that?" The driver nodded. "Exactly. With the hidden code, they can alter your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions." The tunnel ended, and the car emerged onto an empty highway. Nathan felt his chest tighten. "Who are they?" The driver met his gaze through the rearview mirror. "You still don't get it?" Nathan opened his mouth to speak, but the sound of 3 simultaneous notifications cut him off. His phone, the tablet on the dashboard, the driver's smartwatch. 3 devices, 3 messages, all identical. "We are in control." The driver cursed and slammed his foot on the gas. "Damn it, they already know you're with me." Nathan felt a lump in his throat. "What do we do now?" The man kept his eyes on the road. Now we run." The road ahead seemed to stretch into infinity, but Nathan knew it was just an illusion. They were surrounded. The driver kept his foot on the accelerator, weaving between the few cars scattered across the deserted highway. "They tracked us too fast," he muttered. "That means someone gave up your location." Nathan's stomach dropped. "What?" The driver glanced away from the rearview mirror and locked eyes with him for a second too long. "Someone betrayed you, Nathan." Nathan's blood turned to ice. He tried to think. Who could have done this? He didn't trust many people, but there was one. Diana. NeuralLink's lead programmer, his partner on the project. The only person who could access the code and know that he had found it. That can't be, Nathan whispered, shaking his head. The driver just exhaled sharply. They always find a way. Bribery, blackmail, threats. Everyone has a price, Nathan. Nathan clenched his fists. Diana would never do this. Would she? Before he could answer, 2 headlights appeared in the rearview mirror. A black car. Shit. The driver gripped the wheel tighter. Nathan turned to look. Another car pulled up behind the first. "They're closing in," he shouted. "Hold on." The driver yanked the wheel hard, swerving off the highway onto a dirt road leading toward an abandoned tunnel. The black cars followed without hesitation. Nathan felt the impact of the rough terrain jolting his body. The car skidded, nearly lost control, but the driver managed to steady it at the last second. "This isn't gonna work. They're faster." The driver didn't answer. He just clenched his jaw and pressed the gas pedal even harder. But then, the car lost power. Nathan's eyes flicked to the dashboard. What happened? The driver looked at his phone, still mounted on the dashboard. The screen displayed a single message. Stopped. The engine went dead. Nathan felt pure panic set in. The black cars pulled up, boxing them in on all sides. The driver balled his fists. "It's over." Nathan looked at him, mind racing for any solution, any escape. "No, there has to be a way." The man just stared at him. "That's what I thought years ago." The car door was ripped open violently. Nathan was dragged out by strong, precise hands. He struggled, but a sharp blow to the head sent him crashing to the ground. The last thing he saw before blacking out was a pair of black boots, and a cold voice whispering his name. The darkness was thick. Nathan's head throbbed. The world spun around him, but when he tried to move, he realized the worst. He was restrained. Metal cuffs locked his wrists and ankles. The floor beneath him was cold. The air was stale, recycled, artificial. He opened his eyes. A white room, cold, clinical. In front of him, a mirrored glass panel. They were on the other side, watching. A mechanical hiss cut through the silence. A door opened. Someone stepped in. Diana. For a fleeting second, Nathan felt an irrational relief. She was here. She could help him. But then, he noticed, she wasn't surprised. Her face was calm, calculated. She pulled up a chair and sat in front of him. "You shouldn't have investigated, Nathan." The betrayal cut through him like a blade. "You knew. From the beginning." She sighed. "Of course I knew. I helped write the code." Nathan's mind spun. "Why?" Diana looked at him with something almost like pity. "Because resisting doesn't matter. Plan 666 isn't a plan anymore, Nathan. It's already begun." Nathan's breath hitched. "What?" Diana leaned forward. "Do you really think NeuralLink V3 hasn't already been activated?" The air seemed to vanish from the room. Nathan's chest tightened. Diana gave him a small, knowing smile. "The code is already inside billions of people. The activation was gradual. Small updates, subtle commands. No one noticed, because no one needed to." Nathan felt bile rise in his throat. "What have you done?" Diana studied him for a moment. "They don't know, Nathan. They don't feel it, but they're no longer in control of themselves." Nathan gasped for air. "This is absolute control." Diana smiled. "This is evolution." Nathan clenched his fists. "You brought me here for what? To convince me?" She shook her head. "No. You were brought here because they decided you're still useful." A cold shiver ran down Nathan's spine. "I will never help you." Diana tilted her head, almost sympathetically. "But you already are." She stood and walked to a control panel on the wall. Typed something. The mirrored glass became transparent. Nathan's breath caught in his throat. On the other side, he saw himself. Him, sitting, in an identical room, staring at him with the same look of shock. Panic detonated inside him. "What is this?" Diana stepped closer. "A backup of your mind. You've been copied, Nathan." Nathan's whole body shook. "No, that's not possible." Diana smiled. "When NeuralLink is activated, it's not just control. It's rewriting." Nathan struggled to breathe. Diana turned her gaze to the other him. "And now, the question is simple." She turned back to Nathan, her eyes gleaming under the cold fluorescent lights. "Which one of you gets to leave this room as the real Nathan?" The door behind her opened. Footsteps. Voices. They had come for one of them. Nathan tried to scream, tried to break free, but it was too late. The process had begun. "You've made it this far. You've seen the pieces fall into place. But now, you have to make a choice. Technology has always promised progress, connectivity, convenience. But what if its true purpose was never to help you, but to erase you? NeuralLink V3 has already been activated. Plan 666 has already begun. And now, will you forget this and go on with your life as if nothing is happening? Or will you wake up before it's too late? Because the next time you update your device, it might not be you making the decisions anymore. Liked the video? Subscribe and don't miss another story.